What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with another Destiny 2 Witch Queen video, and we're going to speak about weapon crafting, of course something that we were initially introduced to via the campaign, and it is an ongoing process in that we're still unlocking and gaining access to the majority of craftable weapons, exotics, and perk variations. However, we now have the basic understanding on how weapon crafting works, so in this video we're going to focus on the fundamentals of weapon crafting, how to get crafting weapons in the form of weapon patterns, the various crafting materials, and how weapon levels interact with all of that. And so I hope you guys enjoyed this introduction to crafting, and now let's get into it. And initially, the place where crafting happens is in the Enclave on Mars, accessed via the Throne World map. Something we should mention initially is that Enclave comes with its own firing range of sorts, so if you run past the relic itself and then down the stairs to the bottom area, there's this space where we can fire weapons at these kind of nodes, and it's at least an opportunity to dive in and get a bit of an idea about how a weapon feels. But next let's speak about weapon crafting itself, and all currently available crafting weapons are shown in the patterns collection on the relic. So when you select to shape a weapon, all of the weapons which can be built at the relic will show in that list, including ones with patterns that you haven't earned in the game yet, which are essentially grayed out, and we're able to view the full collection. And so one question will be, how do we actually acquire crafting patterns? And according to the tooltips, most weapon patterns can be obtained through resonance extraction, or as a specific quest reward. So for example, when running through the new Witch Queen content, we're occasionally getting Deepsight resonance weapons dropped, which means they come with a red border and an objective to make kills with a weapon which can be tracked on the weapon UI, just like a bounty. And as a heads up, by looking at the crafting and catalyst node in the game, we can see a few different quest sources for upcoming weapons, such as the exotic Glaives, which will drop via a future quest. And so very unique and exotic patterns can be earned through those other sources, but back to Deepsight Resonance, when you finish a Deepsight Resonance objective, you can go ahead and claim the completed objective in order to unlock that weapon on the crafting table, in addition to earning some crafting materials. So if you get the new Throne World rocket launcher as a Deepsight Resonance version, that means you can unlock the launcher to craft by completing its objective. And once it's unlocked, of course the pattern can be shaped into a version of that weapon with selectable perks, which come from a predetermined perk pool for the weapon decided by Bungie. So if a weapon can roll with kill clip, then you have the option to craft it with kill clip. However, if kill clip isn't in the perk pool for the weapon, then it won't be craftable either. So just bear in mind the options of which perks we can craft are in fact curated by Bungie. And importantly, when looking at crafting perks, the weapon level is very influential in terms of which perks you can actually access. So the first time you craft a version of a weapon, it's going to be pretty limited in terms of perk unlocks until you've used it quite a bit more, which is why we have the option to reshape weapons, which is the node we use to update weapons that we've been grinding towards a god roll-off for a while. We should mention that weapon levels are earned purely by using those weapons in combat. So using the Throne World launcher Red Herring as an example, at weapon level 7, we unlock enhanced intrinsic options like Adaptive Frame, which offers an additional 10 blast radius. And the same applies to traits and enhanced traits, and each perk you can select will require a different weapon level and different amounts of crafting materials. So on the third column we can access stuff like Enhanced Killing Wind. And to apply this, the weapon has to be at level 7, and selecting that perk will cost Ascendant Alloy as well as Adroit Element and Neutral Element, which is a higher cost than adding a lower tier perk. And so crafting will be a combination of weapon investment for a specific pattern, and then the wider investment of earning materials for general crafting. And going back to Deepsight Resonance weapons, these will be a common source of materials, so it's worth completing them as often as possible when they drop, even if you end up dismantling the weapon afterwards. And the crafting specific materials include Neutral Element, which is a super common material earned through resonance objectives. But additionally, when we turn an objective in, we can choose between Ruinous Element and Adroit Element as primary material rewards in addition to Neutral Element. Then we have things like Resonant Alloy, which drops from dismantling weapons, and is used primarily as the currency for weapon frames and enhanced intrinsics. And then finally, for top tier enhanced traits and exotic crafting, we need to spend Ascendant Alloys, which are found in challenging activities. And so that basically covers everything there is to know about weapon crafting in general, but of course down the road when we get access to other craftable exotics like the Glaives, there may be some unique elements to figure out, and we may also learn more about specific sources for crafting materials. But otherwise, I think we've covered the important basis for weapon crafting and the Enclave in D2, and I'll be sure to keep you posted on us accessing the upcoming exotics or any other surprises. My only other mention would be that if you've completed the Witch Queen campaign and have access to the Osteostriga exotic SMG, that will also show up in the Weapon Patterns tab, and you should be able to go ahead and craft one. And we can see that for the exotic, the intrinsic bonus stays the same, but as we level it up, we will be able to get access to different barrels, various magazine socket perks, and the Osteostriga Catalyst, which will require weapon level 10. So the exotics add another fun layer to the crafting system. It'll also be interesting to get access to the exotic glaives, as we can see in the patterns and catalyst section. The first exotic glaive must be unlocked from the report reverse lure quest, and that'll be the same regardless of which class you're running it for. Otherwise, for weapons tied specifically to Deepsight Resonance, all of those details are in this section as well. And taking a cheeky look at the exotic glaives here in the collection, we have Edge of Concurrence, a hybrid melee and ranged polearm with a frontal shield, which generates energy on dealing ranged damage. And it gets Lightning Seeker, and when the weapon energy is full, consume it before firing to make your next shot track targets across the ground and unleash chain lightning on impact. So that is the Hunter variant. Then we've got Edge of Action with Remote Shield, and when weapon energy is full, consume it before firing to make your next shot deploy a protective shield on impact. And that of course is the Titan variant. Then there is Edge of Intent, and when weapon energy is full, we can consume it before firing to make your next shot deploy a healing turret on impact. So it's going to be exciting to get to look at those in the game, guys. And again, I will keep you posted as we get any further updates. But I feel like we already said this, I am super tired after 24 hours of grinding Witch Queen. But as always, I appreciate you tuning in and hope that you guys have an awesome day.
Guardians have been combing Mars since it reappeared. No way they'd have missed this. It's definitely new. Let's get a closer look.